Welcome to Bedtime Confessions. Welcome back to this week's Bedtime Confessions. I hope you're doing great and you're ready to listen to me ramble. In today's video, we're going to talk about how you need to embrace change or keep your small. I hope we've all heard this phrase where it says, change is the only constant. Because it really is, Everything around us is constantly evolving, moving, shifting, changing. And that's just the way life is. And if you don't change with it, you're going to be left behind. And that's the truth for everything, The thing is, we age, right? So why do you think that your body can age, but your mind can't? If you stay stuck in one mindset, or if you're stuck in one phase of your life, everyone around you is going to keep moving, but you're going to stay where you want to stay. But that's not going to make your life better. That's going to make your life worse and small. Because the only thing that we have to do on this earth is expand. We need to expand physically as we age, and we need to expand mentally as we grow. So that's what I want to talk about today. The reason why we need to change and expand is because we need to get the full experience of life. When we're kids, we need to experience the world. We need to discover what it is to be a human. We need to discover emotions, learn how to ride a bike, learn how to tie our shoes, learn how to swim. We need to learn so many new skills that we don't know as we are born into this world. And as we move into teenage years, we need to learn about purity, about sex, about desire, about grades, about essays, about college, about driving, so many things. As we move into university years, we learn about social culture, drinking, alcohol, that's the same, romance, dating, how boys can be manipulative. I'm sorry. What else we learn about in university? We learn about plagiarism. Oh my gosh, I did not know plagiarism was a thing until I came to university. I mean, I kind of knew, but briefly, whatever. We learn about fashion. We learn about the hobbies that we like. We learn about new interests, new fields of industries, so many things. And then as we transition into adulthood, we learn about taxes. We learn about banking. What else did I learn as an adult? I'm still a baby adult, so I don't know. But as we grow and expand, we learn so many new things, and that gives us the full experience of life. So that means that every day, something is changing. So resisting that change is not natural to our bodies. But somehow our brain tries to prevent us from change or makes us scared of change because change is uncomfortable, because you need to learn and adapt to the new environment, to the new people, to the new experience that's offered to you. But I want you to see change as something positive, because that means that you're truly getting everything out of life. You're learning how to handle new situations. You're learning how to handle conflict. You're learning how to deal with your own emotions and trauma and how to deal with new people. There's so many things you need to learn in this life, and if you were to keep yourself small and in your little bubble, then you wouldn't get to experience all of that. And yes, sometimes it's scary, and sometimes there's scary stuff out there, and sometimes the change is not as comfortable and not as positive, but it will always bring something to you, whether it's a lesson or a blessing. There's always something out of it that will make you stronger for the future years. So embrace change, because change is all about embracing the full experience of life, and change is not going to wait for you. It's going to happen anyways, and whether you accept it or not is going to create your experience. If you embrace it and you go along with it, you might be happy through the change. You will see it as expansion and as learning rather than an obstacle, as something that you're so uncomfortable with. So I rather see change as something positive so that I stay optimism through the change rather than pessimistically endure that change, because I want my experience of life to be full and happy rather than negative. So that's how you should view it. Either you view it positively or negatively, because regardless of what you're thinking, it's going to happen. That's not something you can control. And despite your brain not wanting to go through that, it will have to happen. Change is not something you can control. And so the only thing you can control is how you react to it. So decide now, because we're going to change. And you know what? Something very cool that I've kind of adopted is the thought that instead of seeing change as something uncomfortable, I am seeing it as expansion. So you know that feeling of being uncomfortable where you feel like a little bit of fear, doubt, or like in your chest you can feel the uncomfortableness of new things coming into your life, or when you know you need to change. Instead of labeling that feeling as negative and as uncomfortable, I see it as stretching. It's literally my soul and my mind being stretched to welcome new things. So instead of sitting here and feeling anxiety and frustration that things are changing and things are moving and maybe not in the direction that I wanted them to move, I just see it as the expansion of my body, of my soul, and of my mindset. I see it I see it as my skin or my brain is being stretched, so that I can welcome new things, new opportunities, new blessings, new stuff that will make me grow and expand. And again, experience life fully. So that's it's all about perspective. Instead of seeing everything as negative, seeing as something positive that will bring new stuff in. Because that's the fun of life, if your life were to be so routine or so consistent and nothing new was gonna come in, then what's the point of living? Because you're not learning anything, you're not challenging yourself anymore, there's nothing exciting coming in, because at some point everything will become boring. Everything. Because your brain craves novelty. It craves new stuff. So then if there was no change, you would be so bored out of your damn mind, because everything at some point loses its novelty. It loses how special it is because it became a common occurrence in your life. And I'm not saying that you can cherish boring things. I'm just saying that welcoming new opportunities and welcoming change is also something very positive to do, so that you can complement the boring or more common things in your life with something new that comes in and can spice it up, And then another point that I kind of mentioned earlier is that if you don't change, everyone else is going to change around you, and you might be stuck in an area of your life that at some point you'll just feel how small you are. Again, change is not an option. That means that everyone around you, I see it very often, in my friendships. I'm someone that loves personal growth. So I'm always seeking change. I love being challenged and building my mind, building my health, or expanding myself. I love doing that. And I do it at a speed that in a few months, if you haven't seen me in a while, I usually am pretty far ahead. I'm pretty different in the sense where it's I've done so much in the past month that you wouldn't recognize me as easily as the person I was a few months ago. So that means that around me, my friends know that about me. So we grow together, right? And I really love when my friends around me also have that growth mindset and embrace change, because I want them to move and expand with me. Right? But I often see that in friendship where I see in them that they're not changing at the speed that I am. And therefore, at some point, we're not relating anymore. They're stuck in some area of their life and I'm already here. And they're not moving parallelly. Parallelly? Let's just say that's a word. Parallelly to me. Parallelly. I don't know if that's a word, but parallel to me. That's how you say it. Parallel to me. And the thing is, if you have someone like that in your life and you stay small and you stay stuck with in where you're at right now, those people that are growing, they're probably gonna be like super far ahead of you. And at some point, they will be so far ahead of you that you wouldn't even be able to see them. And in cases like these, when you see people moving far ahead, even though you're somewhat comfortable and content with who you are right now, at some point you will feel like you can't relate to them anymore. You feel like you're not part of their group anymore. You feel like they're so far ahead from you because they kept working on themselves and you're here just like not moving. That's not how life works. We need to keep moving forward. Like, I'm not saying change your life every 6 months. I'm just saying, like, progressively learn new things, learn new hobbies, invest in your health, invest in your mindset, invest in your career. Just move forward in some way, shape, or form so that you feel like you're constantly expanding your soul and who you are. Because if you don't do it yourself, or if you don't go with the flow, life will do it for you. Because again, let me repeat myself, change is not an option. It's gonna happen. Think about a time in your life where you didn't want to change and life forced you to change by an injury that made you need to take care of your health, by laying you off of a work that you didn't really like. You had to find another job, or breaking you from your partner. You had to find another relationship. All those things are change. All those things are from life. Like, life made you change. It forced you to change by... It's basically like life saw you not change, therefore it changed the variables around you so that you had to make a change. But the thing is, why wouldn't you want to be in charge of that change? I'm not saying you can control change. I'm just saying, like, you could somehow influence change so that it is more positive rather than wait life to change it for you and make it a little less positive. Because let's say the best example is health. Let's say for a very long time, I've been denying that I'm not drinking enough water. Okay? And so, like, this is an actual real case example in my life, okay? Where I didn't realize that I need to change my habits around hydration. So I didn't drink enough water, or on a daily basis, I wouldn't drink enough water. And therefore, with all my training and everything that I'm doing every day, my body is dehydrated most of the time. And I stayed in denial and I was like, no, it's fine. Like, I'll do better like next week, blah, blah, right? Coming up with stupid excuses because I just didn't want to drink more water. The thing is, so now I did not want to change my habit of hydration. So I didn't want to change the amount of water I was drinking. My body said, enough is enough. I don't like this. I need more water. Therefore, I'm going to make you rest. So for the past 3 days, I had to rest because my body couldn't physically handle the fact that I was so dehydrated. So now that my body has told me to rest, now I have to physically change my habit of hydration and actually drink those liters of water. That's how change happened. You have something, is that you are in a place where you know you need to do something or you need to move forward, but you don't want to because of comfort, because you don't want to put yourself in uncomfortable situation, or you don't want to do the work to change. Therefore, your brain was like, well, if you're not going to willingly do the change, I'm going to change the variables around you so that you have to do the change. And then, so that's when the water thing happened and I had to rest. And then because of those circumstances, then I had to unwillingly change because I want to get out of the fact that I need to rest, right? So that's how it happens. It's like, if you're not willingly going to change yourself, life is going to change the variables around you so that you have to unwillingly change yourself to the person that you originally were supposed to be. My gosh, wasn't that so clear? Wasn't that such a great example of how change is just not an option? I'm telling you, you have to embrace change because staying small is not an option. Like, if you were to stay small your entire life, what life would that be? I think it would be pretty boring, because that means that staying small is never getting out of your comfort zone, never challenging yourself. You know, I think that when we try to stay in our comfort zone, it's usually because we try to avoid those negative emotions. But the thing is, like, on some aspect, those negative emotions fuel your experience of life. Like, I remember some instances in my life, like some of the memories that I have that I cherish a lot, or because I came out of a difficult situation, is because I was able to surmount whatever happened in the past, and I was able to survive that. I was able to grow stronger and be more resilient to that. And I love the fact that I was able to grow and learn from that lesson. And yes, in the moment it felt horrible. I didn't like it at all. But now I'm so grateful for that experience, because if it wasn't for that experience, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So you need to change. You need to change so that you can learn the appropriate lessons to become the person that you want to be. Because if you don't, like, nothing is handed to you. You can't become patient without experiencing impatience. You can't become stronger in the gym or through a workout without feeling weak. You have to go through the opposite of what you want to be so that you can learn how to cultivate that mindset of who you want to become. Because that's just how life works. Life works with duality. If you feel sad so you can feel happy. You feel mad so you can feel content, I guess. You feel hungry so you can feel satisfied. There's so much duality in this world, and for you to expect things to just be handed to you without having to change yourself, or without having to go through uncomfortable things and situations and feelings, is just so unrealistic. That's not how life works. You have to go through shit to get what you want and get what you want to be. That's just the price to pay, guys. That's just how the world works. And then the last point I want to make is that the more you resist change, the harder it will be. And I kind of illustrated that with a few of my previous examples. But have you ever been in the situations where you knew you had to change, but you just didn't want to? And then the longer you waited, the more anxiety you felt, the more stress you felt, the more resentment you felt. And then once you actually did the thing, then it just went by so fast, and then you realize, oh damn, if I did that sooner, I would have been in this state sooner, or like it would have been like the feelings of anxiety would have left sooner. That's exactly how you have to think about everything, because the more you resist, it's like basically a rubber band, right? So let's say the rubber band is change. So if you like resist change like this much, then like bam, it won't hurt when it like bounce back. But if you like resist, and then you let it go, where it's like you actually embrace the change, and then bam, it's gonna hurt. I don't think that's the right metaphor for this. But what I'm saying is that the more you resist change, the harder it will be on your mind, because your mind knows that it's what's supposed to happen. You know you have to do that thing. So resisting is just creating unnecessary burden on your mind and unnecessary stress, anxiety, frustration on yourself, rather than just go through the quick, uncomfortable few days, few weeks, or whatever it is that requires you to change. And then you'll be there. And then you'll be happy you got there. Because the resistance is just you delaying the change. So let's skip that resistance part, because it's just going to make you more miserable. And let's just start changing right now. And let me tell you, that change is going to bring you a better life. So you resisting it is just like hurting yourself for unnecessary reasons. So think about that for a second. I understand if you're scared of change. I'm scared of change too all the freaking time. But the more you accept it and embrace it, the better it is, and the better it will feel, and the easier it will feel. Because change is inevitable. Like, you have to go through change. Like, and change doesn't have to be in big ways. It comes in everyday form. Like, you slowly change every day. Your opinions, your friends, your family, maybe not your family, because that's pretty set in stone, but like, you're changing so much on so many levels that you might not even notice right now. Like, your life is constantly changing around you. The weather is changing. The opinions, the politics, the society is changing. The technology is changing. Your apps are upgrading every 2 days. I don't know why they have so many software updates. But everything is constantly changing and moving. So why can't you? Why can't you embrace that change? Because it's gonna happen regardless if you want it or not. So it's better if you embrace it than if you resist it. Because, again, you can't control it. So let that flow. Let it just flow. And yes, you might feel uncomfortable for a few seconds, but it's okay. Being uncomfortable is a part of life. It just means you're stretching. You're stretching your soul. You're stretching your capacity to welcome new experiences, new people, new life. Your experience of life is all about change. Like, if I had to summarize the experience of life of everyone on this earth, I would just be change. Change is literally the core of your experience on life. Because you're changing from the second you're born into this world. Every single day, you learn new things. Like, when you were a kid, everything was changing so fast because you were learning so much. You were learning about language. You were learning about walking. Again, I'm not going to go through the whole full phases of life because I did that in the beginning and I thought it was pretty damn good. You're constantly growing, expanding, and changing, and you just need to accept that. And sometimes, especially if it's change in relationships, we don't want that because that means that we have to readapt. We have to adapt to a new way of life without a person, without our best friends, without the coffee shop that we love, for example. But there's other things out there. And sometimes in a distant future, you will look back and you'll be like, God damn, I haven't thought of that person in a while. When in that area of your life, they were all you were thinking about. That's pretty crazy. One week, I was reading my old journals and I was reading about a past crush that I had. And I was like, God damn, that was a while ago. Like I was reading it and I was like, damn, this girl, my past Coralie self had no idea what was coming. Because, at that time, all she was thinking about, it was that crush. Like, she was obsessed about that crush. And now, I'm 2 years, 3 years later, and I'm like, God damn, I don't like this guy at all. I don't even understand why past Coralie was attracted to this dude. Now I'm so grateful because that guy taught me so much about myself. And me being the person I am today is because of him. On some small aspect, he influenced my life to become the person I am today. So I'm grateful for that horrible experience 2 years ago. Because it taught me so much about romance, about dating, about boys, about myself, about my confidence, my insecurities, everything. And because of that change, because at that time, 2 years ago, I decided to change and let him go and accept and embrace the fact that it's not going to happen between me and him, I'm where I am at today. And let me tell you, it's pretty sweet where I'm at today. So, embrace that change because that change will bring you so much more joy and happiness than resisting it and staying small. So, I'm going to leave you at that because I think it's a pretty cool conclusion to this whole rambling video. And I will go to sleep and I hope you do too and have a good beauty night sleep and I will see you in the next video. Bye!